Well, good morning. Um, Welcome to Monday Morning Devotions. Coffee and Jesus. I've got my coffee and I seriously need it this morning. It's early. And as you can tell, I'm back on my porch. It's a little cool, and it may get cold again. I don't know, but I've been spending a lot more time out here and enjoying the mornings and listening to the birds and watching the cows across the road and watching the sun come up on the hill. If I sit the right way, I can actually watch the sun come up back that way a little bit. But I usually sit facing this way, and I just kind of watch it as it rises on the hill over here, and kind of lights up the little pasture across from me. So it's been really nice being out here again. So I thought I would move devotions back out to the porch where it started, where I love to be in the mornings. So this morning's a little weird. I've had a rough week. I've struggled this week. Not with anything major or anything like that. Have you ever had one of those weeks where you're just out of sorts? Where, it just doesn't, things aren't clicking, things aren't going smoothly, nothing seems settled, everything's just kind of, out of sorts. That's the only word I can think of. It's just not, just off kilter. And it can be for a lot of reasons. It can be because there's, lots of stress going on in your life, or a major change, or, just feeling overwhelmed and various things. But, I know in my life, there are times where it's just, I don't know, unsettled. I just have this, off kilter kind of week. And I've had that this week for no particular reason. I've just, I felt like I've struggled all week, just to keep up, just to keep up with being a mom and a wife, and we've not had anything, crazy going on. And so it's just been, I don't know, it's just been that kind of week. And so I've struggled this week. Even in my devotion time, it's just felt off. It's just felt out of sync. And, so most mornings this week, I just sat on the porch with my headphones on and listened to music, listened to praise music, and just was like, ugh. That's how I felt. Ugh. So up until yesterday, not late last night, but, it was yesterday, I did not have a devotion. Because, I just hadn't been able to just sit down and get focused on it. Everything was just, like I said, off kilter. And then I was cooking dinner last night. Kid you not, I was cooking dinner last night. And while I was cooking, I was kind of, praying, talking to God. And I was like, what am I going to do for devotion in the morning? And in my head, I was like, well, I'm just going to repost, be like, hey, here's a good one from last year. And I was like, okay, which one should I do? But I was just praying, and he just started ministering to my heart. And he's like, just sit down and rest, okay? And I was like, I have a million things to do. But I put dinner in the oven, and so I sat down at the table, and I had my phone, and I had not flipped over. I have a daily devotion, like a verse of the day app on my phone, and I hadn't looked at it yet. And so I flipped it open, and I just read the verse of the day for yesterday. And this is the verse that it was. And it's Isaiah 66. It says, as a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you, and you will be comforted all over Jerusalem. And I sat there and I was like, yeah, this week I just needed his comfort. I just needed his arms to wrap around me and to just, I don't know, minister to me in a different way. And so as I was sitting there thinking about that, um, the story of Elijah came to mind because my pastor mentioned it and talked a little bit about it yesterday during his sermon. And it was, it's in first, that's why I said this is weird, because I don't actually have a devotion for you this morning. I just have some stuff that he showed me last night about comfort and about him ministering to us where we are and what we need. And it's not a lot, but it's what I needed last night. Literally all I have written down in my notes is the scripture itself. So, so we're going to, in 1 Kings, chapter 19, it's Elijah is running away from Jezebel. You know, she's trying to kill him. She's mad at him for destroying all her prophets of Baal, and she's vowed that she's going to destroy him and kill him. So he's scared. He's running. He's overwhelmed. So all this stuff's going on. He's not been sleeping. He's not been eating. He's just a mess, right? And so he runs out into the desert. He leaves his servants behind and says, I'm going by myself. And he runs out into the desert, and he just plops down under a tree, and he's done. He's overwhelmed. He just does not want to deal with it anymore. He's exhausted. He's hungry. He's just done. And literally in verse, let's see, chapter 19, verse, I think it's 4. It's a little dark out here. 5, verse 5. Well, the end of 4, verse 5. He says to God, I have had enough, Lord. Take my life. I'm no better than my ancestors. And then he laid down under the tree and fell asleep. So he says, I'm done. Just kill me now. Just take me on to heaven. I'm done. I do not want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And then it's interesting to me, and this is something that, Pastor Jacob brought up, is that he fell asleep. Well, the thing is, he's been running. He's been stressed out. I don't know about you, but I don't sleep good when I'm stressed out. I don't sleep well when I'm overwhelmed and when my mind is just going, million miles a minute. And so I really think that was God's hand. He was like, son, you're tired, you're hungry, you're overwhelmed, you're at your human limit, so rest. And so he had him go to sleep. So he took him a nap, and then an angel woke him up, and there was a cake of bread at his head. Now, some translations say a cake, just a sweet cake, and some translations just say a loaf of bread. My pastor he's like, I think it was cake. So he took a nap. He had some cake. An angel made him a cake, and then he went back to sleep. God put him back to sleep. And then when he woke up again, he had a big, he had a meal. He had a feast. And then Pastor Jacob was funny. He said, sometimes that's all you need is a nap and some cake, and you're good. But God gave him what he needed in that moment. He was overwhelmed. He was stressed. He was tired. He was hungry. God provided rest and nourishment in that moment. He ministered to his physical needs before anything else, because it says, after he had his naps and his cake and his meal, he was renewed, and he was ready for what God had for him. And, he had a journey then, a long journey he went to, I think, a cave where he met with God and had this amazing conversation with God. So God didn't say, I don't care about your circumstances. I don't care that you're hungry. I don't care that you're scared. I don't care that you're overwhelmed. I don't care that you're tired. Get yourself up in that cave. We got to talk. He didn't do that. He ministered to Elijah's physical needs of rest and food before he asked him to do this spiritual thing, or this thing for him. And I thought that was really interesting in my moment, that God cares more about our well-being, our comfort, him comforting us and him providing for us, than he does what we do for him. Now, that's important, serving him and loving him. But in this instance, specifically of Elijah, he put Elijah's physical needs above what he needed Elijah to do. So that kind of ministered to my heart, that sometimes it is okay to step back and let God just minister to your heart. And in that moment, last night, when I was working on dinner, he's like, just sit down. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, but I need to unload the dishwasher. But in that moment, that wasn't what I needed. In that moment, I needed to sit down and hear his word and feel his arms wrap around me. So Matthew 11, verse 28 says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. When we're overwhelmed, when we're just out of sorts, off kilter, things just aren't going right, sometimes we just need to sit down and come to him and say, I don't know what's going on, but this ain't it. I don't like it. What's going on? And, he'll give you comfort. In that moment, he'll give you what you need. And that's what he did last night. In that moment, he just, I don't know, gave peace to my heart. If we go back to Isaiah, let's see. Isaiah was that? I don't even know. Okay, that's Kings. I'll find Isaiah in a minute. Okay, Isaiah 40. Am I in 40? Where am I at? I don't even know where I am. Isaiah 40, verse 11 says that he tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and carries them close to his heart. He gently leads those and the young. So he gathers us in and holds us close to his heart. A shepherd's first job is the welfare of his sheep, right? That's his primary, that's what he does. He takes care of them. He guides them. Yeah, he wants them to go where he wants them to go. But his primary goal is to keep them safe and protect them and feed them. And, so he's our shepherd. He loves on us and just wants to protect and care for us. And that comes above his, command to serve or to, love others. Yeah, we're supposed to love others. We're supposed to love him. And we're supposed to love ourselves. And sometimes we forget that. And we put everything else first. And forget that he puts us first some. So we should put ourselves first, I guess. And then in Isaiah 41, 10 and verse 10 says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed or disheartened, is what one translation I have says. For I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So again, it's that image of him carrying us, right? And then verse 13 says, for I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. it reminds me of the that there's a poem or whatever it's called. It's called the Footprints thing. It was really, really popular when I was young. I don't know that I see it so much anymore, but it was like, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know the poem itself or the thing. It's, there were two sets of footprints. I looked along and there were, walking along the beach, and I looked behind me and there are two sets of footprints. And then there was just one. And I, was talking with, I guess you're walking with God. I don't remember the whole thing, but the God says, that's where I was walking with you. And then where there's just one set, that's where I carried you. And it kind of reminds me of that, there are times when we just have to let him. We just have to go, I can't walk anymore. Or, not necessarily like Elijah, kill me now. I'm done. But we're just like, I need a breath. I need to step back and I need a comforter. That's what I need. I need to lay in the bed, stay in the bed in the morning, and take my comforter and just wrap myself up and lay there for a little while. That's a good image for me too. That, he is our comforter. He is the one that when we're off kilter, when we're disheartened, when we're overwhelmed, he just wraps himself around us like a big old fluffy down comforter and gives us his warmth and his softness and his peace. It's like that shepherd holding that little lamb up to his chest. And speaking of the shepherd, the other thing that came to mind is, he gives us such amazing things in his word. And I'm really bad to forget what I know. The Bible teaches us that we're supposed to learn the scriptures so that they can be there when we need them, right? So we can bring them to mind when we need them. And I know a lot of scriptures, and I know a lot of Bible stories, and I know a lot of things that are in the Bible, but I tend to, in the moment, get caught up in myself and my drama and not go back to that. Because the thing is, every kid, every teenager that has ever grown up in school has had to memorize the 23rd Psalm. And I think this week I should have just been living in the 23rd Psalm, just, sitting with it. Because, 23rd Psalm, just the first 4 verses even. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you, O Lord, are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So just right there it says, he's there. He's our comforter. He's going to be right beside us. He's going to lead us from the chaos and the, stressful places to green pastures, comfortable places, and still waters, quiet waters. He's going to lead us to the places that minister to where we are right now, right? He's going to provide the green pastures as, food. The still waters is, fresh water and calm. He's going to restore my soul. I needed to sit in that this week, and I didn't. I got caught up in my humanity and my expectations for myself, and allowed this world to unsettle my mind and my heart and overwhelm me. And I shouldn't have done that, right? I should have just went to God, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Anyway, he finally last night, after a week of this, he finally just said, sit down. And now here's the thing. I've been sitting on my porch every morning with my headphones on and, listening to music. But while I was doing that, those of us who struggle with letting things go and paying attention and all that good stuff, I had 50 other things rolling around in my head about what I need to do when I got done. And, my to-do list. And, well, what if I don't get this done? How am I going to fit this in? Okay, which one is priority? And that's what I was doing instead of just resting and letting him minister to me in that moment. So that's kind of where I am. I am going to be confident that this week is going to be better than last week. That I'm going to, rest in the assurance of his love and his control and his comfort, and allow him to minister to me this week, because I need it right now. I am struggling with just being me, honestly, doing the things that I need to do, and being the mom. There's a loud vehicle. Being the mom and the wife, and the teacher and the Sunday school teacher, and the servant to my community and my church, and the granddaughter. I miss my grandma. I need to visit her, and I'm struggling. And I'm struggling meeting all the things that I feel I need to meet and that the world says I need to meet. And I need to remember that God doesn't demand all of that from me, right? He just demands me to be me and to do the best I can and to love him and to teach my children who he is and to show his love and grace to the people around me. So pray that I can refocus this week and just allow him to minister to me like Elijah so I can then continue my journey. Like I said, it was a little weird this morning. Not really a plan. So if you're struggling with, like I am, if you are unsettled, off kilter, disheartened, any of those things, just remember, all those who are weary, he will give you rest. And that he's the shepherd. He wants to lead you by still waters and in green pastures, and to keep you safe with his rod, the rod and his staff. That's keeping him safe from, predators and danger and rescuing you from danger. He wants to do all those things. That's what he's there for. So let him. I'm going to try. You try too. Okay? All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Lord, I just thank you, praise you for your word, and that you are my comforter. You're my big fluffy down comforter. When I need you, I just can wrap you around me and call on your name and give you my heavy heart, give you my off-kilter days, and that you can minister to me in that moment. And you can provide what I need in that moment. You're the only one that can. You're the only one that can minister and provide in that moment. Lord, I ask that you be with those who are watching, that you can minister to their hearts and to their minds, that you quiet their minds and calm their spirits, that you just give them the love and comfort that they need to sit and rest in you. I love you and I praise you and I thank you. Amen. Well, my husband's heading off to work, so guess it's time for me to be done here and head inside and fix some breakfast for my little yahoos. So y'all have a wonderful day and enjoy. I think it's supposed to be a pretty morning. I'm not sure. I don't think it's supposed to rain till this afternoon, but enjoy your porch, your time with God today. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.